and join Jan Vanderhoof for the singing of O Canada.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command, car ton bras se porte l'épée, il sait porter la croix, ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on God for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on God for thee.
Thank you, Rod. Stretch drive begins tonight at Investors Group Field. Head into the final third of the regular season with a critical matchup on Friday Night Football.
First start since August 11th versus Ottawa for Johnny Manziel. He is 0-2 as a starter. This will be his third start in the Canadian Football League and first against a Western opponent. He's up against Matt Nichols, who's making his 60th start of his career, 100th game for Matt Nichols. He's 4-1 against the Montreal Alouettes career, but this is a Winnipeg team trying to snap a 4-game losing streak. He's got to play better.
There is Mike O'Shea, who has made the decision to go with Nichols once again, trying to end that 4-game losing streak and get back into the Western playoff race. Mike Sherman's Alouettes look for their second consecutive road win and third victory in 4. And look for a measure of revenge, too, for that 56-10 spanking that they took back at Percival Molson in June. Keenan LaFrance is back. Bombers win the toss, want the football right away, and lead-footed Boris Beatty kicks off proceedings here tonight. And it's LaFrance from his 10. And won't reach the 25-yard line. He gets tossed down by Dondre Wright. And it will be Matt Nichols, who got the vote of confidence from his head coach, and out for his 10th start of the season.
What's been uncharacteristic of Matt Nichols' play through the 4-game losing streak has been some of the decisions he's made. He's always been very good at protecting the ball and not throwing those interceptions, but you saw by his numbers, 11 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, a lot of them over this last 4-game losing streak.
So he says he's refreshed, rejuvenated, and comes out throwing to Nick Dembski, and it's a completion, a horse collar tackle on the former Winnipeg Blue Bomber TJ Heath on the first play from scrimmage.
The Bombers 4-1 when coming off the bye week.
Major foul, horse collar tackle. Montreal number 24, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Good start on the play call, just to give a nice comfortable throw for Matt Nichols so he can get in that groove early out to Nick Dembski, and you'll take a look at the penalty here, the horse collar from behind by TJ Heath.
Nichols 165 and 166 yards in the last 2 starts. Andrew Harris, the ball carrier. Enoch Mwamba puts a stop to that 7-yard run as we set the Bombers offense for you.
Well, 2 major adds to the Bombers offense tonight. They get Weston Dressler back in the receiving corps. Great record when he's in the lineup as opposed to being out of it. And Jamarcus Hardrick back at right tackle. And as you can see, he's got his game face on.
Big man missing action for the first time. Never missed in high school or college. A handoff to Harris. And didn't look like Matt Nichols wanted to give that ball up, but Harris took it out of his hands and runs for a first down.
It's some coaches will call this play the ride and decide. And it's usually the quarterback's decision. I don't think it was this time. I think it was Andrew Harris who decided who was getting the ball. It was Matt Nichols saying, hey, whoa, I won't. Okay, never mind. You go ahead.
So 12 yards on 2 carries for Andrew Harris. He's now 4 away from his 4th 1,000-yard season. And with those 2 runs, he's back in the lead in the CFL rushing race. Fake to Harris this time. Nichols on a roll downfield. He's got Wolotarski. Nice catch in front of Tavon Campbell. And the Bombers moving on this opening drive with another first down into Montreal territory.
So play calling wise, Paul LaPolice gets it started with that little swing pass out to Nick Dembski. Now they go to Wolotarski on the outside. He's going to run this timing out, but they get Matt Nichols on the run. Little play action, get the launch point outside of the edge of the defense and give him a nice throwing lane to his wide receiver. A 19-yard gain and a good drive out of the gate.
Bombers number 2 in scoring in the opening quarter. 4 points shy of Hamilton for the lead in that department. Again, it's Harris straight ahead up to down to the 32-yard line against a Montreal defense that's been much better in the last 3 weeks.
3 sacks for John Bowman on the season. He did not play when Montreal faced Winnipeg early in the season. Take a look at the linebacking core. What a year for Chris Aki at linebacker. 64 defensive tackles. That ranks 4th in the Canadian Football League. Behind his teammate Mwamba in the middle. Tommy Campbell just signed nice contract extension. Shut down corner. He's got a new deal.
2 for Harris, 2nd and 8 as they try to keep the drive alive. Pressure coming in. Nichols is dropped as Woody Barron gets home for his 3rd sack of the season. So back at the 43-yard line, and let's see if that puts him out of field goal range.
That's a little help from the secondary, and Woody Barron will be the first to tell you when he can engage with his guy in front of him, swing all the way around the horn like he did to get to Matt Nichols. Something good's happening in the back end with his DBs.
50-yard attempt for Medlock, 2 for 5 from beyond the 50. This just beyond it is up, and it is good. Medlock hits from just beyond 50. And the Bombers get 3 on their opening possession. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by the Nissan Titan, official vehicle of the Canadian Football League. 6 different quarterback change this season for Montreal. And Johnny Manziel back at the controls looking for his first CFL win. First start against a Western opponent. Williams stand back in the backfield and they carry for a couple as he runs over Craig Rowe.
Now Williams stand back getting his 2nd straight start at the tailback spot for Tyrell Sutton. Big power back that can move the pile. It's going to help in the play-action game with Johnny Manziel as well. And Tony Washington, very important at that left tackle to hold off Tristan Opolaugo off the edge.
100th career game for Tony Washington. Congratulations on the milestone, 2nd and about 7. Manziel to throw for the first time. Big heel blitzed. Pass for Darius Bowman, and he can't hang holding on. Looked like he made the grab in first down territory, but the former Bomber could not survive contact, and it's a 2-and-out.
Hit coming across the middle, but he had his hands on this football. Really should have caught that ball on the dig route. A little bit of a wobble to it, but he certainly had it under control. It was where Johnny Manziel wanted to put it. Not pretty, but effective, and dropped by the receiver.
Beatty kicking it. Dembski's got it at the 23, a 48-yard punt. Well covered by the Alouettes, and they'll have the football at the Bomber 29-yard line. So Nichols with a field goal on the opening drive. Back to work when we return. Well, it's the sixth start for Matt Nichols against the Alouettes. Arguably the most important start that he's had.
Absolutely. When you look at the 4-game losing streak and how Matt Nichols has played during that stretch, very important. But you've got to admire one thing. His coach has got his back. He's a lot of pressure on Michael O'Shea over the bye week to make a change and put Chris Streveler, who was the starter because of an injury to Nichols early in the season when Winnipeg beat Montreal. But he said, nope, I'm going with Nichols.
He's out throwing Darvin Adams to catch up at the 37-yard line. That's a pickup of around 8 for his favorite target.
You know, and this is either going to write one of the great stories and comeback stories of the season. That Michael O'Shea, when the pressure was on to make the change, the fan base wanted to see Streveler. Matt Nichols was struggling. He went through the bye week, looked at the body of work, not just the last 4 weeks, but the overall body of work with Matt Nichols as a starter in Winnipeg, and went back to him. We'll see if now Matt Nichols takes the baton and runs with it.
The toss to Harrison, over 1,000 yards and up to midfield. So Andrew Harris, for the 4th time in his career, hits 1,000 and off to a terrific start here in the opening quarter.
Boy, wouldn't it help Matt Nichols if they can get Andrew Harris in one of his real good games. That's his 4th 1,000-yard season of Andrew Harris's career. He's the first running back this year to go over 1,000. William Powell was leading the league coming into this week, but Andrew Harris at 2nd spot, but he's the first to get to 1,000.
Rips off 17 already, more yardage than he had in the Banjo Bowl. And now Nichols with a feet-first slide to the 50, gets a little shove at the end of the play, but has 5, and they get back into Montreal territory.
So a couple of important players back in the lineup. Get Andrew Harris going. That will help. There's one of them. We'll take a look at the record for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers with Dressler in the lineup. And it's not necessarily just because of big numbers by number 7. It's a lot to do with the leadership and just the belief factor when he's in there. It's pretty amazing. When he's not in there, they've only won 1 game.
I think they gave Nichols a great spot, moved it back 2 yards, so it's 2nd and 7, and downfield, a good connection to Kenbrell Tompkins for a first down.
Boy, Tompkins knew he was going to get hit here. It was one of those throws that he had to kind of expose the rib cage. It's a little bit high and inside on him as Nichols throws on the run, and he knows he has to go up and get it. 22-yard gain for Tompkins, and they're in field goal range again.
Joe Nichols 4 for 4 out of the gate for 57 yards. Back in scoring range, first down at the Alouette 30. Here's the jet to Dembski. Dembski looking for a crease, and he's got it for a first down inside the 20-yard line.
Kenbrell Tompkins steps up and helps his buddy, helps his receiver. You need the block at the point of attack on the fly sweep. And Dembski is going to get it from Tompkins right there on Brandon Dozier.
Already 6 first downs in the opening 7.5 minutes for the Bombers. Third best touchdown production in the red zone in the league. Couple of fakes. Dembski out of the backfield. Is he the release valve? No, covered by Dozier, so Nichols throws it away.
And that's the decision throughout his career he has made consistently until the last 4 weeks. And Paul LaPolice has said as much.
And especially the last start in the Banjo Bowl.
Just forcing too much to try and quiet the Boo Birds and compounding the problem, really, making bad decisions. But that was the right one. Didn't have an open guy and threw it into row 5.
So 2nd and 10. Wolodarski stayed in, now releases. Deep throw into the end zone. Incomplete. Dembski looked like he had it. Flag on the play.
Well, they were both hand checking down the field. It was TJ
Illegal
Heath.
contact. Montreal number 11. 10-yard penalty. The result will be a first down.
So the veteran Chip Cox called. Darvin Adams heated up, had a little pushing match with somebody and quickly got grabbed out of there before he got flagged.
Yeah, Chip Cox is away from the play here. He's going to get Darvin Adams on the crossing route coming right through here. And when he does that, watch Cox grab his jersey. He holds on. He holds on. He keeps moving, tries to make the inside cut. No question, that's a penalty for illegal contact away from the football.
So the drive continues to the 10. Couple of fakes. Harris out of the backfield with the catch. Looking for the corner. Touchdown. 10th touchdown of the year for Andrew Harris.
Just a little bit of patience there from Matt Nichols to just allow Harris to get a little wider on the play. Drops it to him. And an early lead for the home squad.
Just one catch, and he's just the last 2 starts for Harris. First catch here to pay dirt. 10-yard touchdown. Caps an 8-play, 81-yard drive.
Hey, good shit, man. Great job.
And the convert from Medlock is automatic. His 48th consecutive. Nichols to Harris for the touchdown. And it's a quick 10-0 Bomber lead.
Nice rub here from Kembrell Tompkins to come in and just get enough of Chip Cox, who's covering Andrew Harris coming out of the backfield here. Take a look at how the execution of this Bomber touchdown ideal. Now, Matt Nichols has got to hold for a second because right here, Kembrell Tompkins is tying up the guy who's trying to cover Andrew Harris, Chip Cox.
And he can do that as long as the pass is behind the line of scrimmage. Medlock kicks it off. It'll be Stefan Logan. Looking for a crease and now bumping it outside over the 45, and a good return for Logan and the Alouettes, giving Manziel good field position after a 40-yard kick return.
Boy, the 37-year-old still's got it. I mean, he can pick him up and put him down as good as anybody in the league. He's not a young pup anymore, but still great vision from Steph Logan.
Made a good point. How many kick returners in pro football are 37 years of age? 7 years Canadian Football League, also an NFL. One of the good pros in the league. Straight ahead carry for Stanback, and he powers his way into Bomber territory. Will set the Winnipeg defense for you.
I think the defense has missed Jackson Jeffcoat, but they do have Craig Rowe to sub in there. 3rd straight start for Rowe in his place. Adam Bighill is the leader in the middle of the linebacking core. Javon Santos-Knox has arrived as a star and a veteran in the league, and got a new corner out there in Robert Priester. Just a couple of starts for him. We'll see if Johnny Manziel tests him outside.
Just 3 sacks for the Winnipeg defense in their last 4 games. 2nd and short. Stanback's got some room on that left side for a first down to the 49 of the Blue Bombers.
23-year-old William Stanback from Virginia Union, and this is a guy that I'll tell you, I'm intrigued. I've been intrigued with this running back since I saw him return a couple of kicks early in the season. He's got tremendous power, speed for his size. He's 233 pounds at 6 foot, but he can flat out run too. Can break away running back with power, can push the pile. Well, this is the magic. This is what he's capable of. You think back to Texas A&M and Johnny Manziel, not as a throwing quarterback, but what he did with his legs, what he did running the football. He can create. When it breaks down, Johnny Manziel can go get it done on his own.
Runs for 11 and a first down. Of course, the last time he ran the football, got that heavy hit at the goal line against Ottawa. Now back to throw again, stands in, delivers, and Bowman can't make the catch. Couple that have hit his hands. That would have been a tough one, but incomplete.
Well, he's got a second down and long in front of him, but take a look at the Texas A&M numbers for Johnny Manziel running the football back in 2012. 201 carries, over 1,400 yards rushing from the quarterback position, and 21 touchdowns. I mean,
all those numbers are staggering.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's for 2 years running the football from the quarterback spot.
Now they go empty. Now Stanback will reset in the backfield. Manziel changing the play call. They're going to run out of time, and they'll have to call a timeout.
Well, there was a flag thrown at the same time. Let's see if he got the timeout called in time.
Montreal, timeout. No flag on the play. Timeout was called from the bench before the 20-second clock ran out.
Make your getaway with intelligent all-wheel drive in the 2018 Nissan Qashqai.
Now you can see they were in trouble not getting that play off as he changed the call at the line of scrimmage.
Now there was some confusion too. William Stanback was trying to get the call. Almost looked like something wasn't jiving. And it was tough to get that done with the crowd noise and the volume turned up.
It's happened a few times here.
Oh, yeah.
Gerald Rivers is checked in on defense for Winnipeg. Resetting the football and second and 10. 3 receivers to the boundary. Manziel looking the other way, and Bowman's got this and has a first down. So Darius Bowman with the catch against his old teammate.
Well, there's an example of Johnny Manziel's arm strength, because he's deep in the pocket here on the wide side throw. The out in the Canadian Football League on the wide side throw is a long one. It can be a 50-yarder when you do the math, and that's accurate to Darius Bowman, who catches one of his first 3 targets.
Bowman 9 catches with Winnipeg, 6 against the Alouettes. Here's the quarterback option. Ryder Stone gets drilled. Big hit to Brandon Alexander, moved up from his halfback spot to play the run.
This reminds you a little of Texas A&M, and this is a great college play, and a play that a lot of teams love to run in college. Take a look to the right of your screen as Alexander is going to step up, but at this level, when you get to the pro level, the defenses are so quick and fast. Boy, it's very tough to execute this option type play. That's a 4-yard loss. Big tackle by Alexander.
And if Alexander doesn't make it, there's 4 or 5 other bombers waiting in the wings. Second and 14. Here comes Big Hill. And Manziel in trouble, and he gets dropped. Greg Rowe gets home, his first sack in 5 games.
Greg Rowe Bigheel's going to get there. He's coming from here, but it's Adam Bigheel that comes on the blitz to the front side that's going to cause the problem. William Stanback's trying to come up and pick up this blitz, and Bigheel ducks it. That makes Manziel step up in the pocket, and he steps right into the arms of Craig Rowe.
So back-to-back losses. And a 47-yard field goal attempt for Boris Beatty. 52, his longest this year. This one is up, and it is good. And Montreal's on the board. But Johnny Manziel feeling the heat as the Bombers get to the quarterback here, and a sack for Michigan product Craig Rowe. Well, it's a performance that Matt Nichols is trying to get as far behind him as possible. The 3 interceptions toss. Willie Jefferson there. Here under pressure, he throws it up, and Purifoy comes up with that, and the underhand that ends up in the arms of Samuel Aguavin. He's trying to look forward, and with more on his rebound here, Sarah Orleski.
Well, Chris, after the Banjo Bowl, the Bombers had a bye week, and perhaps nobody on this team needed a mental reset more than Matt Nichols. He stayed away from the facility and all things football for 3 days, which is longer than what he would typically do on a bye week. He just spent time with family. He said heading into this game that he needs to trust his eyes, stick to the script, and trust what his coaches and teammates are doing. Now, you guys had mentioned that he has the full support of his coach, Mike O'Shea. Same thing for offensive coordinator Paul LaPolice. But LaPolice did say Matt Nichols, they need him to play better, but they have full confidence he would rebound in this game. 2 priorities: better numbers on first down, as well as eliminating critical errors.
Also said he got to forgive himself. I guess we've all made mistakes, and you got to just put it behind you.
It just started to...
Major foul, horse collar. Montreal number 7. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
John Bowman grabbing the jersey up around the knee plate to Andrew Harris.
The wheels were just spinning off. I mean, there was, after the first loss, a comment by Nichols that, you know, everyone jumped on, and that started to spiral things, and then some of the bad decisions compounded because he, as you said, Chris, wouldn't forgive himself in some of them. I know he wears those mistakes in a big way, and the bye week, like Sarah mentioned, came at the right time. You usually don't want to go on a bye when you're losing, because now you have to live for that with that extra week with the loss. But for this Winnipeg Blue Bomber team, it was the right time to flush it, cut out all the noise, stop messing around, get back to work.
That's how I fix my computer. You just turn it off and reboot it.
And then ask your kid if he could fix it for you.
Second and long, pocket collapsing. Nichols gets out of there. Chip Cox in chase, and Matt takes a big hit there. Stepping up was Tavon Campbell, and Matt Nichols hops up short of the first down, but lets everybody know he's in it to win it tonight.
You do see a real level of focus in his eyes, don't you? I mean, you see a guy who's trying to run the offense. He's not going to hook slide here. He wants to lead his team by example. Say he'll take the hit to get the extra yard. Got his team out to a lead so far. Matt Nichols to start this game, 5 of 6, 67 yards and a touchdown.
First stop for the Montreal defense. Bedlock. A line drive boot bouncing inside. Look at that. Come on, the backspin, and it sits almost on the goal line. Logan will bring it back to the 5, but the punt doesn't get much better than that, does it? And the fans get the punter a standing ovation.
He hit it down there, and it was a gimme punt.
Well, we're through 1 quarter of play here. A quick start for the Bombers. And a 10-3 lead after 15 minutes at Investors Group Field. Bombers trying to be better, and they were in that first quarter.
Yeah, and they're doing it together. You know, defense has got a couple of stops. Andrew Harris is involved. He's already over almost at 40 yards, and And they're getting some blocks downfield. Kimbrel Tompkins with a couple. Andrew Harris getting his nose dirty blocking as well. So it looks like Matt Nichols is focused.
They said that they needed all three phases to play well. Couldn't help but think the defense looked good. Offense moved the football, put 10 points on the board. And then Medlock hits from outside 50 and a punt like that as well.
Yeah, and then when you look at the other side of it, and Johnny Manziel, 2 drops by Darius Bowman, or his yardage total in the first quarter is similar to Matt Nichols.
Long field to start the second quarter. Now it's scrimmage at their own 5. Catching it in front of Chris Randall.
Well, they're putting Darius Bowman into the boundary quite often here, and that's the prime target, that boundary, wide out boundary slot back. He dropped his first 2, as I mentioned. That was about 30 yards off the board for Manziel and his numbers. Did catch his last 2, so he's flushed the early slow start.
14 for Bowman is max on the season, 44. He's up to 25 yards so far. And stand back, can't make that catch, so another drop. Brandon Alexander there gets in his ear.
You know, some of these play fakes and some of the execution of the offense is just a little bit off. Watch the play fake here from Johnny Manziel to stand by. See how it's separated there? It's not really quite in his stomach, so it doesn't pull the defense quite as well as it should. Pressure a little bit more. The ball is right where it has to be on the throw. I'm just talking about Manziel working into this offense set up by Kahari Jones. Is close, but it's not quite executing at the highest level.
Second and 10. Time running out, and they've got him again, so second consecutive series that they get to Manziel. This time it's Rivers with Opalugo.
Well, and this was a front 7 sack, because you take a look at how they worked on this, and how those 4 guys across the board here are going to squeeze it. The key to playing against a guy like Johnny Manziel with that front 7 is going to be to eliminate the escape lanes. Don't let them take off and ad-lib. They did that on that play.
Go get it! Go get it!
Dempsey fields the punt at the 51, steps over midfield, and breaks a tackle or 2, and finally driven out at the 45-yard line. 49-yard punt, but a good return by the local product to set things up again for Matt Nichols. So far, so good tonight. Nichols with a touchdown pass and a 10-3 lead. Shaw Road to the Grey Cup continues tomorrow. Big triple header action gets underway. The Eskimos take on the Red Blacks, followed by a special live mic broadcast. Rough Riders and Argonauts. And it'll all wrap up with the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the BC Lions in a cat fight on the West Coast.
Did you hear what Duron Carter said?
He said a few things to say.
Surprise, surprise.
There's Nichols up throwing, and Tompkins with the catch. Second catch for Tompkins, who's had just 1 in each of the last 2. And Andrew Harris, a big part of the offense, and determined to help rally around his quarterback.
The biggest thing that we can do as teammates is just say, hey, we got your back. We believe in you. We know you're not. This is not the Matt Nichols that you're putting out on the field every day. Having said that, you know, as teammates, we haven't been as accountable for him as we should have been too. I mean, we've dropped passes. You know, we missed reads. We haven't blocked as well as we should have. So as a team, it's not just on him. It's everyone. It's a group thing.
Never is just the quarterback, but boy, it's all been focused on the quarterback for the last week or 2 here.
Oh, for sure. And you know, I mean, when you look at some of the decisions, you look at the 4 losses, and Chris Streveler and the way he played in that early part of the season when Nichols was hurt, couldn't start the year. Well, that's why all the pressure from the outside on making the change.
Second down, Nichols steps up, and he'll get dragged down From the backside, Gabe Napton will take down the quarterback. And the field goal unit will come on.
Back with the Montreal Alouettes. And he's in that 2-point stance at the top of your screen. And this is again help from the back end because Nichols doesn't like what he saw in the first read. Didn't have time to get to the second. 55 tracked him down. Great motor on Napton. And not bad war paint either.
League leader in that department. 27 of 31, and Medlock good again. And it is 13-3 in favor of Winnipeg. So Johnny Manziel's got some work to do. He made some comments that in some quarters were seen as controversial, wanting to get back into action when Antonio Pipkin got the start against Montreal. No regrets, although he admits he could have kept it in-house.
I was told, that I was brought to Montreal not to sit the bench, but to play. I think I let that, obviously boil over to something I could have kept, between me and Coach Sherman or me and Kavis, and kept it a little bit more in-house. And regrets in that regard. But outside of that, I'm a competitive person, and I want to, I want to play, and I want to get a chance to get on the field and compete.
See if he can get this offense going. Standback gets taken down. Big Hill and Anthony Gator combine.
Yeah, Johnny Manziel said he wants to play. And if he wants to be on the field, and you want to hear that from your players, that's what Coach Sherman said, and that's what he expects from Johnny Manziel, who obviously has tremendous confidence in his abilities and was brought in to be the starting quarterback in Montreal, where there has been a turnstile at the quarterback position.
Receiver for the Alouettes on the night, but a well-executed screenplay and a first down.
Now, this is a well-executed play because Manziel makes it happen as he's fading away here. Johnny Manziel is going to create after it breaks down. Full blitz. Santos knocks in his face. He keeps retreating until Standback opens up. He gets enough for the first down. A new set of downs. A new 1st and 10.
Targets to Bowman to the Standback, and now a handoff inside. And Stone takes it to the 50-yard line.
But like Matt Nichols, whether it's Johnny Manziel or Antonio Pipkin, they need some help around those quarterbacks when you're giving up that many sacks. And it's not just O-line. You could take it up to 45 because he's been sacked twice tonight already. That causes the interceptions, the low output offensively. It's not just O-line, but that's where it starts.
Lions in.
While he's learning and while his game is evolving, this is what he can do. This is what Doug Flutie, and we've made the comparison because of the potential, because of what we saw from Johnny Manziel at Texas A&M. Now, Doug Flutie was an MOP in the CFL year after year, so Manziel's got a lot of work to do. But early on in the career, if he creates like that with his legs, he can buy himself time.
Second rush for 18 yards. Now swings it out. There's a different target tonight as Eugene Lewis has his first catch down to the 41-yard line. It's another Alouette first down.
I was talking to Gahar Jones before the game, Chris, and I asked him, what are you seeing? How are you seeing Johnny Manziel grow and develop? He said, I watch him in practice, and he makes every throw in practice look effortless. It's almost like a flick of the wrist to get it out there. I saw an example of that on that hit screen. Gahar Jones says he's going to find it. He's going to find that game in the CFL. He believes it. And that's a guy who played at a high level in Canada for years.
See if he can find Cunningham or Ernest Jackson instead. Draw and a big gainer for Williams. Standback, a burst down to the 20-yard line.
How about that cut? How about the cut by William Standback on Taylor Loeffler? Loeffler's one of the best safeties in the game at the open field tackle in space. But Standback, look at the low pad level. Good eyes and vision. Nice move right there. Freezing Loeffler, picking up an extra 6-7.
kept the 37 on the ground, and the Alouettes had something going. And now, following Lewis, Manziel, a key group, maybe he'll skip out around the 15.
Now, this is a timing issue, and I think that was going to be the fly sweep to Eugene Lewis. But because the timing was a little off, you could see he said, you can get the ball in time there. He just made Lewis the lead blocker. See, here comes 87 underneath. You can see him going across the formation. This was a fly sweep, but the timing off, so he missed it. So he just said, go ahead, lead off. I'll just pick up what I can.
8th play of the drive. 2nd down, Manziel steps up again, and this time gets corralled and tossed to the turf. And Craig Rowe's having a big first half on defense.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned off the top with Craig Rowe getting a chance to play with Jeff Coat out. And he's been up at the top here in that 2-point stance all game long. Working this time on the outside on Jamison.
15 sacks in the last 2.5 games surrendered by the Alouettes. So Beatty on from 31 out. Matthew Schultz the holder, and Beatty puts it through, and it's a 7-point Winnipeg lead. So a promising drive for the Alouettes, but protection continues to be an issue. Craig Rowe has a pair of sacks and a sack dance here on Friday Night Football. Next home game for the Alouettes will be against Saskatchewan, home against Calgary, then home and away against Toronto, and away against Hamilton to finish off the 2018 regular season. There's a cut from Andrew Harris, and then gets cut down around the 42-yard line by Dominic Ellis, but Harris gets 8.
Dominic Ellis will step up and make a tackle. That was a good cut. It looks like it's caused some problems for Harris. He's just going to go get some oil in the joints. I want to count that as the 55th tackle for Dominic Ellis, which is linebacker type numbers. Now he can play down in the linebacking core. Halfback tonight.
They have been on the field a lot, but 4 of the top 10 tacklers in the league in that Montreal defense. And Rudy Barron slams the door on Keenan LaFrance, who comes in to replace Harris on that play and stops him short of a first down.
This is a defense that has played quite well over the last 3-4 games. Mwamba leads the league in tackles for loss, and Barron just got one of his own there.
First 2 and out of the night against Winnipeg. Medlock to punt. Logan's back. That is 20. 47-yard punt, and Mike Miller downfield in a hurry to make the tackle. Johnny Manziel back to work. A couple of field goal drives so far. Sarah Orleski. More on Manziel when we come back.
During the return, holding.
Guy on the right once made the Winnipeg offense go and carried Milt Stiegel, and now trying to help Johnny Manziel with more. Here's Sarah.
Well, Chris, when I had the opportunity to speak to Kahari Jones before the start of this game, he said that one of the things that he's really noticed about Manziel is just his increased knowledge, which is understandable as he continues to get adjusted and acclimatized to this Montreal Alouettes offense. But Jones admitted that he himself has changed his approach when it comes to creating packages for Johnny Manziel, that he has tried to simplify it, really streamline the packages. It's a balancing act between wanting to make sure that they get the production, but also playing to Manziel's strengths. One of the things that he's noticed recently from Manziel is that he has been making better decisions in practice, and they were looking forward to seeing whether or not that would be able to translate to the game tonight.
Holding call on that last punt return forces them back around the 10-yard line, and There's Ernest Jackson's first catch of the night.
Boy, not been the year that I know Ernest Jackson would like, but that's okay if you can just make the comeback and keep with it. They put him on at the wide out spot, quick slant, and Manziel puts it right on the 9.
Yardsticks come out. They're going to measure. Looks like they got a pretty good spot for Ernest Jackson right at the 20.
Just the 30th catch for Ernest Jackson. This game 12, this game 13. He does not have a touchdown catch this season.
Last start for Manziel, he had 5 catches and 61 yards, one of his best games of the year. And enough there for a first down to give them a little breathing room in their own end of the field. A couple of field goal drive for the Alouettes. 4:36 and 5:11 as they were able to stack some first downs together. See what they can do here. A second first down now at the 20. And a handoff inside, and Stanback has 5 more to the 25.
Yeah, you know, I haven't really seen a lot of blitz from Winnipeg. I mean, right now, Richie Hall basically playing pretty vanilla defense and allowing the front four to provide the pressure. So Hall is going to just say, hey, if Craig Rowe and the boys up front are getting pressure with just 4 of them, we'll just keep sending just 4.
Manziel changes it up on 2nd and 5. And he's going to go for Jackson again, and he can't catch up with it. There is a flag on the play. Like Jackson had a step on Brandon Alexander.
Looked like Ernest Jackson came out of his break a little rough. I mean, he comes out of his break and he kind of stumbles. And he's trying to explain it right now to his quarterback because it just didn't quite look right.
Not sure if that debate is about offside or procedure. Let's find out what the flag's all about.
The video official has called procedure, Montreal number 57. The second down repeated. Timer, please reset the clock to 2:50, and we will take the 3-minute warning at this time.
So Sean Jamieson, the University of Manitoba product, flagged on the play. Manziel misfiring there, and you see his reaction. We've hit the 3-minute warning here at Investors Group Field. Here it's 2nd and 10, Rod. Alouettes at their 20-yard line. First down's 10-9 in favor of the Bombers. Manziel in trouble again. Opalungo back at the end zone. Fumble, and it's a Bomber touchdown. Craig Rowe as Johnny Manziel coughs it up in his own end zone. There are flags, however.
There are flags.
And he might get this one back.
We're going at halftime.
Illegal contact. Winnipeg number 37.
Oh boy.
10-yard penalty will result in a first down.
Big break here for the Alouettes.
And it's an easy call to make. And here it is right here. It's Brandon Alexander on Ernest Jackson at the 5, 7, 8. Absolutely can't do that. 2 flags come out for that one infraction. Clear as day. And you're right. Bails out Johnny Manziel.
Lesson maybe learned, though.
Yeah.
Major reprieve, and now the drop. Got a little room. And stand back up around the 37-yard line.
Big Tony Washington's got to keep chugging. I mean, keep that train going down the field, because William Stanback's back there right now saying, hey, like, you got to keep moving forward. And he had to make him miss, too.
Go 8 for Stanback, 2nd and 2. Maybe one of those turning points on the night. Right to the side, and that might have been the wrong decision as Manziel taken down again, this time by Rivers. Help from Jake Thomas.
Sorry, Chris. Yeah, it was Gerald Rivers, and I thought it was Opala Ugo at first. 56 steps up, is not buying the play fake. And there's the fake, little peek you see from Manziel on that edge. And Rivers said, I'm not buying what you're trying to sell there.
So 3rd and short. Beatty punts it away. Ball bouncing away from Dembski. He'll run up, get the 5-yard, no yards. And Brandon Dozier takes down Dembski after a 37-yard punt. And a little extracurricular after the play is done. So Matt Nichols, 7 of 8, 77 yards in the first half. Touchdown pass to Andrew Harris.
Yeah, the majority of those yards in the first quarter. A couple of adjustments made by this Montreal defense. Great tackles in the open field. Dominic Ellis we've seen, and Woody Barron.
No yards. Montreal number 1. 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play.
So they spot the ball at the Winnipeg 38. With under 2 minutes left in the first half. Jason Tucker going over that last series with Manziel and Darius Bowman. So they move the ball to the 40, first down. Nichols throwing, open target. And the catch is made by Weston Dressler. That's number 699. And for the 121st consecutive game, Dressler with the catch. And that ties him for 7th all time in that department. They go hurry up, and that pass low, incomplete, intended for Adams.
Dressler's got to get his jersey back over his shoulder pad. That's a player safety issue, and he's trying to work on that as he gets back to the huddle. But there they go. Official will help him out. Ben Major giving him a little hand there, because that flap on the shoulder pad pops up as you're getting hit. It can hurt your shoulder.
As you mentioned, the Dressler factor missed the last 4. And oh yeah, they lost the last 4. 2nd and 10. Nichols steps up, looking downfield. Adams the catch in stride. Hauled down from behind by Chip Cox. They've had something going here tonight. There is a flag on the play. It's Adams and Cox get up and exchange shoves. A 50-yard play.
Illegal contact. Montreal number 11. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
Biggest offensive play of the night for Winnipeg.
Darvin Adams just going to run on Chip Cox here. Just man-to-man coverage from Montreal, and Cox will try and grab him there. That's illegal contact beyond 5 yards. That penalty declined because of the catch, and the gain is bigger. 49-yarder for Darvin Adams.
Go first down and goal at the Alouette 7. And it's LaFrance to the end zone, touchdown. Outran Gabe Nacton to the cone, and just like that, the Bombers expand the lead.
Gabe Napton had the same thing that Rivers had for the Bombers. And do you buy the play fake inside? And it wasn't really even a play fake to a back. It was just sort of Matt Nichols holding the ball inside like he might pick it up and throw it. And then the quick pitch to LaFrance. Napton couldn't get there.
That Winnipeg 1-2 punch of Harris and LaFrance. Couple of touchdowns in the game, 4 plays, 70 yards. That was a quick straight drive for Matt Nichols. Medlock the extra point. And it's a 14-point advantage for the Blue Bombers.
See, Keenan LaFrance's first couple steps is towards the line of scrimmage, and that pulls Napton in. So his first couple steps are this way, and then he's out, and Napton goes this way, and then can't redirect to get there. That couple of steps by Keenan LaFrance up the field. No, I'm going fly sweep quickly, or not fly sweep, quick pitch to LaFrance. And you can see Napton can't get the angle. Nice execution.
Second touchdown of the year for LaFrance. And in every game this year, the Bombers have scored at least 2 touchdowns on offense. That streak intact here tonight. So Winnipeg doesn't waste any time, and the Alouettes are going to have just under a minute to respond here to the opening half. Logan up across the 25, but not much more as he gets bounced out at about that point. So can Manziel cut into the lead with less than a minute to go in the second quarter? And the one thing we haven't seen from him that we just saw from Nichols,
yeah, the deep ball.
That one big play.
Yeah, the deep ball. I had that shot on the short corner to Ernest Jackson. Jackson, a little trouble getting out of his break on that one. Didn't get to it. See if they can push the ball a little bit.
Longest passing play for Manziel this year, 31 yards. He had limited work. Gonna go to the air here. And does. Got Lewis up around the 45-yard line. That's a good start.
One of the reasons that Johnny Manziel can't throw the ball down the field is because the pressure is there. He's been trying to avoid that pressure in his face. He had to do it again here. Santos Knox is going to get home. He holds on to the final split second to throw that one over the middle.
First down, Big Hill on the rush. He gets it into the hands of Stanback, and he'll leap over a would-be tackler and step out of bounds to stop the clock. 12 for Stanback with 32 seconds remaining, and they're into Winnipeg territory.
Excellent recognition from Johnny Manziel there, because Adam Big Hill came on a blitz, and if he's not covering Stanback out of the backfield, he's going to be open.
Back was 71 yards from scrimmage in his first half. And look out! Was dropped by first Randall, who could have had a pick six, and then Bowman, who missed on the deflection.
I do that with my golf clubs quite often. When you shank one in the woods and you look right at the golf club like it was its fault. Well, Chris Randall does the same thing. I mean, that is a pick six. And I think he took a peek down the field before he caught the football. And then right afterwards, looked right at his hands. Tried to blame them for the problem.
Looked like Bowman tried to one-hand it on the tip. It falls incomplete, second down. Manziel in trouble again, and now he drops the football. Does he get it back? I think he did. Reel it back in, but there's the sack for Jake Thomas. 4 sacks here in the first half for the Blue Bombers, who had only 3 in the last 4 games.
Yeah, protection's still an issue for this Montreal Alouette football team. We showed you the graphic early in the game. Coming into tonight, they had allowed 43 sacks, by far and away more than any team in the league. And the next closest is just shy of 30, so it's been a problem all year, no matter whether it was Antonio Pipkin or Manziel. It's still a problem tonight.
Up to 16 allowed by Montreal in 2.5 games. Beatty lets it fly, and it's Dembski from his 20. And flag down as Dembski skips out around the 33 on the final play, barring this penalty. Let's see what the call is.
Well, just to put that in perspective, 43 sacks allowed coming in, a handful tonight already in the first half, 4 of them. So now you're at 47. The leader in that category.
Illegal block. Winnipeg number 22. That penalty be declined. The half is over.
In Saskatchewan at 14. 47 to 14. Wow.
So a lot of scrutiny on the quarterback, but he'll need better protection in the second half. Good one for Matt Nichols. 20-6 Winnipeg. Here's Rod Smith.
Craig, it was a first half in which your offense was able to put up points, and as a defense, you were able to get pressure on Johnny Manziel, including 4 sacks. How much did this group as a whole need a first half like that?
Yeah, we've really been working hard, and I think the thing that for us is just keep putting the work in, and like the results will come. And so I think we're starting to see that a little bit in the first half, but we got to complete a full game here.
Is there anything extra for you guys, little extra jump on going up against a quarterback like Manziel that obviously doesn't have the CFL experience, but carries with them a lot of attention?
Right, yeah, it's always fun sacking quarterbacks, but even more fun when they have 1 million Instagram followers.
Thanks so much.
Great, thanks.
Yes. Stand back is who I requested. One, two, three, 1, 2. Here, I'm just gonna. 1 second. Can you just talk into this for a second?
Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It does. David, sounds a lot better. Thank you so much. Thank you. William, just 6 points for the offense in that first half. How do you get things going in the third and fourth?
Just come back out here, continue to execute the game plan. We know what we have planned, and we're going to try to come out here and do what we have to do to try to get more numbers on the board.
Obviously, Johnny back in at quarterback. What's the biggest difference that you're noticing between his first 2 starts?
Well, it's not much of a difference. Is that he's gelling much better than what it was. We had to just build the chemistry and just all come together as a team. It's one unit and it's going to be one team. We have to do what we have to do to win this game.
Thanks for the time.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, shout out to Friday night.
It's Friday night football. Yeah. Boys are all here gonna put on a show.
Andrew Harris, Keenan LaFrance, touchdowns in the first half, 20-6 as we get set for the third quarter. But first, Sarah Orleski is with William Stanback.
William, just 6 points for the offense in that first half. How do you get things going in the third and fourth?
Just come back out here, continue to execute the game plan. We know what we have planned, and we're going to try to come out here and do what we have to do to try to get more numbers on the board.
Obviously, Johnny back in at quarterback. What's the biggest difference that you're noticing between his first 2 starts?
Well, it's not much of a difference. Is that he's gelling much better than what it was. We had to just build the chemistry and just all come together as a team. It's one unit and it's going to be one team. We have to do what we have to do to win this game.
Thanks for the time.
Thank you so much.
And whether it's Johnny Manziel or Antonio Pipkin, need better protection going forward.
Yeah, for sure. And I showed you a couple times in that first half just how even some little play action fakes are just a little bit off. So, the offense is still a work in progress. They have to settle in with Johnny Manziel as their starting quarterback, and that's by all indication is what the plan is moving forward. At some point, the revolving door has got to stop.
Now let's get the ball first. Second half, it's Logan from his 12. And across the 25-yard line.
But I agree with the panel, Chris, that, we did see some good things out of Johnny Manziel. He had a few drops, a couple by a Darius Bowman that would have put some better numbers on the board than he had in the first half. We saw him run 4 times. He was under pressure quite often, so he was trying to find his throwing window. Just like a play like that, Craig Rowe was tough to block for that offensive line for Montreal in the first half. Had a couple of sacks. They gave up 4. So they've all got to come together to give number 2 a little bit of help.
4 different targets, none with more than 2 catches, and out of his stance early. For the second time tonight, it's Sean Jameson.
Procedure, Montreal number 57. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
It's not a coincidence that a guy has 2 sacks in the first half and he lines up in the second half against the tackle and he gets a procedure call because he jumps out of his stance quickly.
Well, they walk back 5, first and 15.
Love the answer from Craig Rowe at halftime with Sarah. It's fun sacking a guy with 1 million followers.
There's Stanback running through 1 tackle, a couple of extra yards on the play, gets 8 on the carry, blew a tire. So if you sack him a couple times, do you get any of the followers to?
My guess is no. But you can call home and tell your family, hey, the guy that is often one of the biggest stories in the game.
You mean the followers that matter?
Yeah,
big take.
I got him a couple times. And we're just starting the second half. We'll see.
Second and 7. Here comes the blitz. They'll screen around it, and it's Ryder Stone. And Stone gets popped short of the first down. Is that Brandon Alexander with the hit again? He stepped up a couple of times from the defensive halfback spot tonight.
He is really bringing the hammer. I mean, Brandon Smith has done this. He's not breaking down. Usually in the open field, a DB, or excuse me, Brandon Alexander, a DB is going to break down so he doesn't miss. Alexander just running through people.
Beatty launches this. Dembski will field it at his 31. And Dembski's got a return up over the 50-yard line, and that sets up Matt Nichols in the offense after a 24-yard return by Nick Dembski. And that's the only bad news for the first half for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Yeah, he at one point in that second quarter after this tackle, he took low from Dominic Ellis. Got up and he was a little wobbly, walked off on his own power, but did not return. He didn't carry the football after that hit.
Here's Nichols underneath, and LaFrance, the replacement, hit by Aki and Napton. Looked like the timing a little off on the in the backfield on that play as well.
Timing off and pads popping, because let's take a look at LaFrance now, who's filling in for Andrew Harris. So keep that in mind. It looked like it was the attempt of the fly sweep, or at least a play fake there. And one of those two shouldn't be there. Probably LaFrance by the looks of it.
Peterman and LaFrance on collision course. Now Nichols pumps once in. Unable to connect with Dembski. Tracked there by Chip Cox. And a quick 2 and out on both sides to start this second half.
Yeah, Montreal needed that stop, though, because after the return from Nick Dembski and the good field position start for Nichols, more points on the board this early, and you start to feel like that momentum is going to carry him to the blowout, but Montreal D gets the stop.
Medlock punting to Logan, and he has made Logan work for it. Look at this. Another one that's going to bounce, and this one does roll. Just not quite the same backspin as the first half. Instead, it's a 59-yard single for Medlock. The league leader in punts inside the 10 just misses another. And Johnny Manziel gets set to go back to work. 8 for 12, 95 yards in that first half. The bikes are hot every week on CFL Wired.
You getting any good stuff or not?
91 broke my face mask. He broke my face mask.
Do I get me bonus because I got a penalty?
Let's go!
It's a Tuesday, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific on TSN 1 and 3. Here's Manziel with a sidearm swing over the middle, and a nice catch there in traffic by Eugene Lewis, who doesn't want to go down. Close to a first down as he lands around the 45.
That was a tough catch over the middle by Eugene Lewis, because he's on the crossing route right across your screen, and because Manziel kind of sidearms it, he feels the pressure coming, so he just sidearmed it in traffic, and good strong hands by Lewis there.
Just short of the first down. Now they'll plunge ahead behind Christian Matt and company and get a fresh set of downs. Lewis, by the way, the only receiver in the game with more than 2 catches, as he now is 3 for 44 on the night.
The leader for Montreal coming into this week in those money catches, though, on second down. That wasn't a second down catch over the middle. That was first down, but equally as important, try and get at least the field position edge here.
The Bomber 45.
Yeah, how did Manziel get the ball that far without any mechanics, any throwing mechanics here? This was a roll to his left, going out the door this way and then throwing it all the way back across the grain without turning that front shoulder around to lead with it. He just slings it to Darius Bowman for a 19-yard gain. That was all arm. First and 10, it's the fly sweep to B.J. Cunningham. First touch of the night, and he gets tripped up behind the line of scrimmage by Javon Santos-Knox.
Yeah, he's arrived.
You know, it's taken a year and a half to get enough experience so that the game just starts to happen. You don't have to think about it too much. And Javon Santos-Knox is in. He's there. He's arrived. He's having an all-star type season.
8th in the league in tackles. He had 8th in the Banjo Bowl, a 10-tackle game earlier this year against Toronto. Sets up second and 11. Three-man rush as they drop. And Adam Bighill nearly has a pick. Intended for Cunningham, but Bighill there to shut the door.
Yeah, you know, we were saying out of the break that Johnny Manziel has had a pretty good first half and showed some good things, but he's also been a little bit lucky. I mean, Adam Bighill gets there. There was a couple of plays in the first half. One fumble in the end zone that was taken off the board because of illegal contact, and one interception for a touchdown that was dropped by Chris Randall. That interception real close from Adam Bighill.
Great punt by Beatty inside the 5. 7th time he's done that this year. Bombers at Edmonton and then Ottawa before home against Saskatchewan and Calgary. They'll close in Edmonton, so that's a tough slate of games in the final 6 of the regular season, and that's why tonight is so important for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Worst field position start back at their 4 with Keenan LaCrantz in the backfield, and he is not going anywhere. Dropped for a loss. Like Woody Barron made first contact.
Big first half for Barron. Much like Craig Rowe for Winnipeg. It's been tough to block in the interior. And this play didn't have a shot. I mean, Napton in there as well. Yep. Yeah, he cut off the escape to the outside for Keenan LaFrance.
Rich Stubler's defense allowed 45 offensive points in the previous 3 games. From his end zone, looking for Dressler, and number 7 has number 700 in his illustrious career. And let's see if that's enough for a first down. It's like he wants to keep that football.
Well, and most importantly for the Bombers here is it gets them out of the hole. I mean, Matt Nichols is throwing from 4 or 5 yards deep in his end zone. They don't complete that. They're thinking about giving up a safety or do they kick it out from deep in their own end. And that's the importance of Weston Dressler. Understanding the situation, getting right to the marker. This is inches away, and see Chris Strebler come in and short yardage.
Yeah, it's just inches. Because if it was a full yard, not likely going for it at this point in the field, and Strebler able to get the first down. So Weston Dressler at 700 catches and closing in on 10,000 yards in the Canadian Football League. Just over 150 away in that department as the milestones continue to click on the odometer for number 7.
Yeah, like I mentioned in the first half, I mean, it's not necessarily all big numbers for Dressler this year. I mean, in the big win they had early against Montreal, the 56-10 blowout, he only had a couple of catches in that game. But the presence of Dressler helps.
Up to the 15-yard line. There's one for the mantelpiece. And almost fitting that it would come on a clutch catch. That was a big grab. Otherwise, they're punting from their end zone. And Dressler now with 9,836 yards in his career. Pressure on here, and the screen falls incomplete. Like LaFrance got caught up in the wash, and Matt Nichols looking for a flag on the play.
I think the ball was past Keenan LaFrance when Bowman from behind tackled him. Unless there was some contact before the ball was thrown.
Mike O'Shea looks like he's poised to challenge. Trying to get a replay on the scoreboard here, and he's just going to go ahead and make them have another look.
Winnipeg is challenging that there was pass interference on the play. We'll review the play.
So the command center will review that last play. We'll find out if there will be pass interference when we come back. Grab hair, but you can't grab towel.
And he kind of had his...
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Winnipeg will be charged their first timeout.
Well, we were watching the replay, and the towel was grabbed there as Keenan LaFrance out of the backfield. We weren't sure if Mike O'Shea was going to get the call or not. Apparently the officials say no.
Well, Bowman's going down, and he kind of grabs Keenan LaFrance's towel that's hanging from the side of his football pants. And he goes down. Well, when he goes down well after the ball's gone by. It was really close, but I thought the contact or the obstruction, if there was any, from John Bowman was after the ball had gone by. Well after.
So flag football's okay,
I guess.
And it means that the Bombers have to punt from deep in their own zone. Good field position upcoming in all likelihood for Montreal. Nice punt. Logan back in his 40. And Logan trying to get outside here. Losing yards so far, now turns it up. And ends up around midfield out at the Montreal bench.
We highlighted him in the introductions to show you Craig Rowe, who's playing for Jackson Jeffcoat in that defensive line, and he's having a big, big night against Johnny Manziel. A couple of sacks. Played well against the run. Making it a tough night for Sean Jamieson.
Bombers were the leading sack team in the league with Jeffcoat, but have fallen to 6th in the last 3 games without him. But a big night so far with 4 sacks. There's Stanback marching it down inside the Winnipeg 50-yard line. He's the leading rusher in the game and has 9 more. So at 66 rushing yards so far tonight. Second and 1. Right back in his hands. That's a first down. Santos knocks there along with Adam Bighill. That Winnipeg defense said despite one guy having a big name and the other guy a relative unknown before this year, that they had to approach either Manziel or Pipkin the same way. In a lot of ways, similar style quarterbacks. Big hit there by Gerald Rivers. Manziel to the sidelines. And Antonio Pipkin comes in. First down. Hand off to Stanback, and nothing doing that time. He gets stood up right at the line of scrimmage.
Of course, you don't have to. This is the upside. If you don't take a knee, then you don't have to sit out 3 plays, and he's fine. He's laughing about it. Manziel. And if Pipkin comes in to just throw or run a handoff, then that's not a big deal. Doesn't have to warm up. But a little razzle-dazzle from the Montreal offense.
Yeah, he's the 6th different receiver in the game. And now Manziel with a catch for 22 yards. Now looking at 2nd and 10. Here comes Big Hill. He gets cut down. Manziel scrambles, throws open is Ernest Jackson. First down inside the 10.
You're right about the block. It's William Stanback who takes Adam Bighill, who's slow to get up. They're looking at the right bicep. Here he is right here, and Stanback's going to step up. He sees Bighill, which you don't. There he is. He flashes to the left. He goes low, cuts him down right there, gives Manziel lots of time to step up and find Ernest Jackson.
Looks like Bighill jammed the left elbow on the landing. Great block by Stanback, 6', 220-pounder. So the Alouettes have something going. Johnny Manziel looking for his first Canadian Football League touchdown pass. 1st and goal from the 8. Empty set. 6 receivers. Flag comes down, and the play does not get off.
Going empty set.
Procedure, Montreal 57. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
So Jamison gets called again. The former Bison's been flagged 3 times tonight.
Well, he's having a tough night because he's been matched up on Craig Rowe too a lot of the time.
So 1st and goal now from the 13. Pressure again. Manziel gets outside. Now throws on the wood. Pitch Mead. Was a foot down. Yes. PJ Cunningham comes up with the football at the 2.
Boy, you can't jump against any quarterback when you're clean off the edge. And that's what happens here. Manziel, look at the concentration by Cunningham. Drags the right toe. Makes the catch, survives contact with the ground. But if you jump when you're rushing Johnny Manziel, he's going to go around you.
First catch of beauty. Antonio Pipkin, the short yardage crew come in. 2nd and goal from the 2. Pipkin, left side, stumbles, but scores. Touchdown, Alouettes. 5th touchdown of the season for Antonio Pipkin. And Montreal gets right back in the game.
Pipkin got those 4 starts, showed a lot of the people across the league that he can play. He won 2 of them. Struggled a little bit last week, which is why the change was made. And you take a look at the overall numbers. He's still got work to do. He's a young man, but showed he's got some skills. And a nice drive by Johnny Manziel and his Montreal offense.
Nice piece by Kate McKenna in our pregame show about the difference between Texas A&M and Tiffin. Convert good off the foot to Beatty, and it's an 8-point game. So Manziel drives him down the field. Pipkin punches it in. Well, coming up on CTV, the premiere of Magnum P.I. Monday at 9/10 Mountain.
Good drive by Johnny Manziel. Put points on the board, make this a 1-possession game. Got the running game going with William Stanback. The little razzle-dazzle back pass from Eugene Lewis back to Johnny Manziel. He had to go in for a couple of repairs for one play, then came back out, hit Ernest Jackson, and maybe the biggest play was when he got outside here and hit his receiver Lewis right, or excuse me, BJ Cunningham right at the boundary.
7 plays, 57 yards. And it's a one-score game once again. Daniel Peterman on the return, and he is stopped up quickly. Just beyond the 20-yard line, D'Andre Wright gets down in a hurry.
Well, to get back on track to snap the 4-game losing streak, this is where the Bombers and Matt Nichols have to have the answer. You know, the good teams, when they get scored on, they have the answer to take the momentum right back. So an important drive here, even though there's lots of time to play.
It doesn't feel like they've been on the field very much here in this third quarter. Edge in time of possession for the Alouettes now, about 6 minutes. Nichols to work. Bouncing around. Now he'll take off at a feet-first slide at around the 24, so just a couple. So second and long on what should be the final play of this third quarter. And it's getting a little less comfortable on that Winnipeg sideline.
No question. You can feel the bolts getting tightened down a little bit here.
No Andrew Harris to lean on. Got off to a great start in this game on the back of 33. Throwing a pass here complete. Wolitarsky comes up with a big play up to the 46-yard line for Drew Wolitarsky, and that might be a spark. 22-yard play from Nichols to Drew Wolitarsky on the final play of the third quarter. Move the chains and maybe change the momentum. So we've hit three-quarter time, 21-13 Bombers. Stats about even, and the game tightening up through three quarters here at Investors Group Field.
Yeah, offensively for Montreal in that third quarter, Johnny Manziel generated 103 yards to the Bombers 34. You see the time of possession now starting to get a little bit lopsided. So Winnipeg on this drive alone need a few first downs, give their defense a break, and try and answer the points that Montreal just put on the board.
Big cause of concern. We've mentioned Andrew Harris is done for the night, and now Nick Dembski's been nicked. If anything happens to Keenan LaFrance, there's nobody else in the backfield, is there?
Yeah, and defensively, the training staff working on Adam Bighill as well. So you're right. There's some guys going down for the Bombers, and they can't lose another back. I mean, Keenan LaFrance is it, or they go empty set with 6 receivers the rest of the game.
First down, play action fake, and Nichols going to go deep. Darvin Adams, and he had it knocked away when it looked like he had the catch. Dominic Ellis doesn't give up on the play.
Well, the execution of this play by Matt Nichols is ideal. He gets the play action fake. He gets Darvin Adams, his receiver, in behind coverage. But you're right, Chris. Dominic Ellis does not quit on it. There's the corner route you see at the bottom of your screen, and the ball is placed right where it has to be, ripped out of there by Ellis at the last second. Right there, he doesn't give up and strips him.
They had a big connection in the first half for 49 yards. Close to another home run there, but it's 2nd and 10. Pocket collapsing. Nichols going to get upended behind the line of scrimmage. Enoch Mwamba has a sack, his 3rd of the year. And the Alouettes are going to get the ball back early in the fourth quarter.
Think of that for Mwamba, who's having a very good season. I mean, he is a guy that, first of all, 2nd in the league in tackles. But what's been impressive to me is all his tackles behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, he leads the league by a long shot in those tackles for losses. There's another sack.
So 3 sacks, 10 tackles for losses. And tied with Alex Singleton for most defensive plays coming into the night. Logan runs up on that and is dropped at the 37-yard line. 35-yard punt. Johnny Manziel and the Alouettes have a little momentum here early in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and That's a good point, because Matt Nichols does not come up with the answer to the last Montreal points. Defense back on the field. No Adam Bighill at this point by the looks of it. Ian Wild is out there, so they're down their leader in the middle of that defense.
Andre Rake getting help to the sidelines for Montreal. Just checking the stat line for the Alouettes tonight, and guess who has the longest pass reception for Montreal? Number 2, Johnny Manziel, 22 yards. His longest completion is 21 to Eugene Lewis. 31 is CFL best, or longest so far, and this is third start looking for his first win.
Well, 3 yards short of that, but Lewis bailed him out with a nice catch. 20-yard gain.
20-yard connection. 2 minutes into the fourth quarter. Take the stand back, Rowe in pursuit again, and he forces Manziel out at the Montreal bench. Boy, he has been, and Greg Rowe hears some chirps from the Montreal bench, but it looked like he was trying to hold up.
Steps inside, checks run, and redirects to make sure that Manziel cannot get the corner and the edge. He's got to be careful with that extra push out of bounds.
I believe he's going to get credit for a sack here. Would be his third of the night. So he has doubled his sack production here tonight. Sets up second and 14. And this time it's Tony Washington out of his stance prematurely.
Procedure. Montreal number 67. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
And Mike Sherman shows some frustration on the Alouette sideline.
They just made second and long, second and longer. Those tackles had a few procedure calls on it.
So it is a sack for Rowe. 5 sacks in the game for Winnipeg. And it will be third down.
You know, not a bad decision, though. If you're Montreal, that's not a bad decision. You drop it off to the back, see what you can get. Sometimes it's not a bad deal to punt it away. You just try and keep that field position edge, punt the ball away, and put your defense out there.
No Dembski, and so it's Weston Dressler, the veteran back. And he's going to let that one bounce. It will roll into the end zone, and now he'll take a knee, and there's a point that makes it 21-14. So it's a 7-point game. Alouettes trying to chip away. Matt Nichols looking to end the 4-game losing streak for the Bombers here tonight. Not often a player's haircut is news, but it was for John Rush this week for a good reason. Sarah Orleski explains.
Well, Chris, John's name is one that we don't say often throughout a game, but certainly deserving of some attention. Rush has had a number of family members, including his mother, have to deal with breast cancer. And so 5 years ago, the now 24-year-old decided to grow out his hair with the intention of donating it eventually to be made into wigs for those that are suffering from cancer. The big cut happened this past Sunday at the Bombers Fan Appreciation Day, and he went as far as to shave his head in a show of solidarity for those that are currently going through chemotherapy. He's also raised thousands of dollars for the Canadian Cancer Society throughout this process. So I know we don't usually have a good guy award in these games, but if we did, John Rush would certainly be deserving.
He would. Lots of good guys this league, but terrific story for John Rush and company. Fullback, special teams demon, once the top defensive player in the Ontario University Loop.
Yeah, outstanding cause. Good for him. Boy, there's so many players across this league that do so much in the community, but when cancer touches everybody, and that was quite a lot.
Yeah.
See that hair got cut off? That's
nice strike there from Nichols to Wolodarski. And just to finish with John, I shortchanged him. Top defensive player in Canadian University football 1 year. Out of Guelph.
For you, Mom. Everything I do, it's for you.
Good stuff. And a big completion there by Nichols to Wolodarski. Third catch, 57 yards for him on the night. First down Bombers at their 51. Fake to LaFrance, and that one short hops. Incomplete, intended for Peterman.
I think Chris Aki was part of the reason that Matt Nichols was a little short on that throw. Boy, he's having himself a year out of Wilfrid Laurier.
Number 4 in tackles, and he's just back after missing the last 2 games with a hamstring issue. Defense has come together, and now they're going after Nichols. Quick hitter, and Peterman couldn't make the catch. Chip Cox was there defensively, but the punt team has to come on again.
Yeah, pretty good coverage on Peterman on the crossing route anyway. So I think unless he breaks a couple of tackles, that wasn't going to be enough for the first down.
4 consecutive Bomber punts. Logan awaiting around the Alouette 15. Tumbling punt lands around the 25, and it's Logan who will step out. Just a 29-yard punt for Medlock. Better field position for Manziel than we might have expected in this 7-point game. NFL on TSN continues Sunday. 5 early afternoon games, including a battle between the Packers and the Skins. Coverage begins at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific across the TSN and CTV networks. Go to footballliveshere.com for a complete broadcast schedule.
How about those Cleveland Browns last night?
Those folks drinking for free here tonight.
Getting their first win in over 600 days. And
drop play here, stand back, flag down. And that was way back in the Bombers secondary.
And Cleveland, by the way, Chris, the last time they were favored to win a game like they were last night, Johnny Manziel was their starting quarterback.
So can it be a
holding? Montreal number 81. That penalty is declined. Second down. 81.
11th penalty against Montreal. Can it be a Cleveland Manziel? Well, it wouldn't be a trifecta, but can they double down here tonight?
A little bit of everything tonight.
2nd and 7. More time. He's going to launch it deep for Lewis, and incomplete. Looked like he had a shot on the football, but Brandon Alexander's had a good night. And defensive halfback for the Bombers.
Yeah, he really has. I mean, he's out there playing against Eugene Lewis, who they move out to the wideout spot, get some speed down the field, and pretty good coverage. He's got him on that first little fake, but he keeps with it, stays with his focus on the ball, and then stabs that left hand in there to get the knockdown. Couple of big hits tonight from Brandon Alexander, like serious hits, and an important knockdown there.
Dressler back in a punt return roll, and returns it to the 34-yard line. Alexander with the big pass break up there. And the Bombers continue to lead by 7. Welcome back Harris knocked out of the game in the first half after a good opening quarter of play. The Bombers' trends have continued tonight. Highest scoring first half team in the league, and they put up 20 in the first half. Number 8 in the second half, only Montreal with fewer second half points, and the Bombers with just 1 second half point so far. And here's the replacement for Andrew Harris, Keenan LaFrance inside.
Well, Michael O'Shea's trying to avoid 5 straight losses. There's the points you're talking about and the differences, and they've got to find a way to at least move into field goal range here. Take some time of possession back as well. But trying to fight through some injuries. Big play coming up here. 2nd and 6. Pressure on. Throws a strike. And Kenbrell Tompkins has got it. Big second down conversion catch. Good strong hands. Working out there in combination with Weston Dressler. And it just that quick out, then bang back into the middle. Needed 9 yards for the first down. Exactly 9 yards. Keenan LaFrance, little chip on Mwamba to help out in the blocking schemes up front. Nichols at 199. Here is the jet to Weston Dressler, and he's brought down around the 53. 2 best defensive backs tonight have been Dominic Ellis for Montreal and Brandon Alexander for Winnipeg. Might try and get on a little bit of a mission in this final third of the season to give some DBs a little more love as we go on.
It's amazing how important a position it is.
Exactly.
And they are the guys that get the least attention. The safeties get a lot. 2nd and 5. Quick hitter. Slant, and leading on Tompkins. Another second down conversion catch for the former New York Giant.
Well, that was great timing, great throw. Put it right into the inside so that Tompkins could come up with the catch. He's just going to run this quick slant here, and he's going to have no choice but to catch it because of the accuracy in the throw and the timing. Make your break, bam, right in between the two of them. Nice timing on that throw from Matt Nichols.
So a guy that took a cab back from the hospital in the Banjo Bowl, becoming a critical contributor here in the 4th quarter. And now a good run by Keenan LaFrance off the left side for 7. And suddenly the Bombers putting together a clutch drive here in the 4th quarter.
They are, and I think it's Paul LaPolice deciding that even though he doesn't have Andrew Harris, and I think it's taken a few series to sort of get over that fact, he's still got a very capable back in Keenan LaFrance and has to stick with the balance and that running game. This drive started with a run, and that was a nice one to put Matt Nichols in a manageable situation here.
Mike Miller checks into the offense. 2nd and 3. And nice catch there. That looked like it might be out of reach, but Darvin Adams pulls it down to keep this drive going
and get them in field goal range. And that's a big catch because it did look like it was a little outside. Now, I think in defense of Matt Nichols and the throw, he saw inside coverage coming inside out, so wanted to lead Adams to the outside to the sideline. Adams comes up with a one-hander.
So down to the 36, first down. Taking time off the clock as well. It'll be LaFrance again. Sidesteps one. And now gang tackled at about the 33. So back to another second down and medium for Nichols, and he's been effective on this drive in converting.
But Matt Nichols also has to understand that he's in field goal range now, and you make it a 2-possession game with a field goal. Can't make that bad decision that has, again, been uncharacteristic over the last 4 games. This is a key situation. If you don't see it, throw it away, get your field goal team out there.
Second and 7, they empty it out. Nichols will step up and get tripped up by Mwamba. So no gain on the play, but they do get it in Medlock range here.
Enoch Mwamba right here is the key, because he's going to get blocked up initially, but young guys, young football players watching this, don't give up just because you got blocked. Keep working. And he fights to get the trip right there on Matt Nichols, who managed that down exactly like he was supposed to. If he didn't see it, if there was pressure, if there was a problem in the form of number 10, you're in Medlock's range.
43 yards away. Trying to make it a 2-score lead. And Medlock nails another. 24-14, just over 3 minutes left. A little breathing room for the Bombers.
Lots of football to be played, of course, but that drive alone almost validates the decision for Mike Roche to go back to his veteran, who, as Sarah mentioned in the first half, flushed over the break those 4 games. We just let him go. I mean, this is a guy with study habits second to none, so in bye weeks, he'll be in every day at the same time, 5 in the morning. But this time he just stepped away, as Sarah mentioned, for a few days to get rid of it.
So now the Alouettes have to be quick strike. They strike with a pass to Ernest Jackson. Loeffler brings him down at the first down stick. We've hit the 3-minute warning. Matt Nichols has just put his team up by 10 down the stretch. Shaw Road to the Grey Cup continues tomorrow. We've got a triple header and all 6 teams in action. I mean, serious implications for each of them. In the road to the playoffs, it begins with the Eskimos, Red Blacks, the Live Mike game, Rough Riders, and Argos. We'll close it out with the Ticats and the Lions at BC Place. But right now, 10-point lead. Manziel's got a first down at the Montreal 46. No Adam Big Hill in that Winnipeg defense. Manziel's got Bowman back in Bomber territory at the Winnipeg 51. And the Darius Bowman has his 4th catch of the night.
And this is the right decision now. It's got to be tempo, hurry-up offense. Down by 2 possessions. Don't have to score the major this time, but he can't, and can't use up too much time.
4-man rush. Underneath it goes. Stand-back's got blockers, but he tripped up, and the play ends. Ian Wild in there in place of Big Hill. An unfortunate stumble for William Stanback.
Well, it really was. I mean, you know, he's had a big game, a good game, and this is just bad timing because the turf monster gets him here. He had something, could have picked up at least 10 there.
Well, you hate losing Big Hill, but Ian Wild, a guy to lean on in this kind of a situation. Here's Manziel, scrambling, takes off, and lunging forward. Let's see where they mark it. He had to get to the 41. It looks like he's going to get a good spot. He might have enough.
Boy, I didn't see the number of the defender that went over the top, but that was close to a monster collision. Right there. Robert Priester just basically avoided getting a penalty for spearing or anything like that, but
because he was untouched, he was given the slide, all the way to the 40.
And you're dead when you slide feet first, but if you dive head first and you're not touched, you have to be down by contact.
So Betsy head first slide, gets a first down, and here's Manziel to the sideline. Look out, it's picked off, intercepted. Marcus sails the other way. First turnover of the game, and that's going to do it.
Well, I was just about to mention mention that Manziel has been throwing some of these completions, these intermediate routes, as he's leaning away or falling away. Now, part of that is because of the pressure he's faced all night, and he's just not really stepping into every throw. Now, he's got away with it all night until now. And Marcus Sayles, if you don't step into that throw to the sideline and you're fading away from it, this is going to happen a bunch. He gets there and gets him out of bounds, but
saves a touchdown, but a costly interception. Sayles' third pick of the year. And the Bombers can run down the clock here now. Hand off to LaFrance. Chip Cox there to hold him up and try and strip it loose. First turnover of the night.
Matt Nichols stayed locked in. There was some downtime tonight. I mean, not turnover-wise, but for Matt Nichols, but a few 2-and-outs in the middle of the game. They scored early and then went through a bit of a lull. But he has regained his focus, and that last drive was a good indication. They really needed it. They needed to get it to a 2-score game, and they did with that drive. 41-yarder.
Got a throw here. He's going to take a shot. Tompkins comes down with it. Great catch at the 5-yard line.
That is that. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers end the 4-game losing streak. Boy, this is a gutsy call in this situation to bombs away to Kendrell Thompson.
Got his favorite target tonight, 5th catch, 94 yards.
Tompkins does a nice job of making sure he seals the catch there. Doesn't worry about running in that extra 3 or 4 yards. He made sure he concentrated on that ball and secured the catch. That was most important, and he got it done.
Hand off LaFrance, right side. Keegan LaFrance down to the 1. Chip Cox saves a touchdown. Mwamba helping up in LaFrance.
And they'll put Strebler in here now to get in that goal line short yardage area. I agree with the panel to start this game, Chris, who said there was more pressure on that guy than anybody else on the field tonight. And he's responded. I mean, not real big flashy numbers from Matt Nichols. I mean, 256 is not bad. That last throw helped.
Strebler in, Strebler straight ahead, Strebler touchdown. And the old line's going to have some fun.
Now Strebler's got to help him get back up again.
Now this to put it away. Well, I think you got to go back to the 41-yard drive to set up the field goal that made it a 10-point game.
Yeah, absolutely.
3 second down conversion throws by Nichols. And now 4-play 48-yard touchdown drive after the Manziel interception. Yeah, Bombers going to get back in the win column.
Yeah, it was a 7-point game there for quite a long time in the fourth quarter, and you got the sense that at some point Johnny Manziel was starting to get going and maybe make a play, and that's when Matt Nichols put together that 41-yard drive, made it a 2-score game.
We got higher. Yeah.
Pretty much game over.
I was about to put my hips, and I was just like, sometimes it's hard for your brain to register that they both stayed. The 3 was kind of high, so I was thinking hitch. And then
time out for the Nissan Titan player of the game, brought to you by the Nissan Titan, the official vehicle of the Canadian Football League.
Well, he got after the guy with 1 million followers, but it wasn't just that. Craig Rowe had 7 tackles and the hat trick in sacks. 3 sacks for number 93. Said to Sarah at halftime, You know, it's fun tackling a guy who's got 1 million followers on Twitter.
The guy with the nickname Craig Death Row is Nissan Titan player of the game. And you saw that shot of Manziel on the other sideline with the tablet after the interception, and you saw him wince as he had to watch that play again. Still looking for his first CFL touchdown and his first CFL win, and Logan gets popped. And Craig Rowe goes back to work.
And I think with Manziel, though, just to close the book on Johnny Manziel tonight, you know, the question I think in Montreal is bigger than the win or loss, really. It's can he continue to progress? From game 1, which was an absolute disaster against Hamilton, to the Ottawa game where he made strides, didn't throw any interceptions in that one. Now he throws one late here tonight. Had a couple of breaks too early, but I think the progression is there. Small steps, but he's starting to see it a little bit better.
56-10 back in June. It was a different game here tonight, but the Bombers are going to sweep and ensure they do not suffer a 5-game losing streak for the first time since 2014.
Well, and you mentioned how important it is for Winnipeg. I mean, you look at their schedule with Edmonton, Ottawa, Saskatchewan, Calgary, and finishing off with Edmonton.
Couldn't stumble tonight.
Nope.
Big hit there by Ian Wild as Cunningham with the catch, and a little slow to get up.
And a crucial game for number 15. Block it out.
One touchdown pass, 256 yards en route. He went past Buck Pierce, his quarterback coach of the all-time passing list. So he's got a little bit of bragging rights in the room this week. And last play of the game, Manziel's going to run, and a feet-first slide to wrap it up. Well, he'll be thinking about that mistake. And Matt Nichols is back in the win column in his 100th game in the Canadian Football League. Closer than the score would have indicated. And a reminder that it's another big triple header Saturday tomorrow, starting with the Eskimos and Red Blacks. Rough Riders, Argonauts, the live mic game, and we'll wrap it up with the Lions and Ticats. 31-14. Bombers go to 6-7. Sports Center coming up. So long from Investors Group Field.